Hello, assalamu alaikum, Jianu, Pakhair Agaleni, how much, Shumme, Washmaleo, hi, Gazaimus and highs, hugs and hellos to all those amazing people who are actually tuned into PT World watching World this morning alongside Shazad and Maha. Hello Maha, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, hello, I'm very good. I am very excited. I have so much information in my head, I just want to get it out there.
Well, you can share the burden though.
No, I don't want to.
Because earlier when we were preparing for the show, so Maha actually texted in our WhatsApp group saying that, I've got so much information. So, I was on the other end and I was like, all right, why don't you share the information? She didn't let it go. But to be very honest,
I didn't let it go because I told him, you can research on this, and this, and then we will join together.
Which we did. So
yes.
Getting started with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'll take pride in saying that, this is for the very first time that we're doing a show on this sport particularly. And I don't think that any other channel has done that so far. But at the same time, there are people who've actually struggled to make sure that, that the sport really exists in Pakistan as well. And go ahead.
And they've been doing it for quite a while now. They've been doing it for almost 2 decades. And, they've done tirelessly. And they've got to the point where, the ground within Islamabad is quite, it's at international level.
Yeah.
They are going abroad. And they are really establishing the sport within Pakistan.
And then the best part is that they've maintained the grounds themselves. They've got the trainers themselves. And then the training sessions and then all the equipment, whatever is required, they're doing it by themselves. So picking up on this sport, first of all, so it was Mr. Webb Alice who actually picked up a football during a football match, and then it came to be known as rugby.
Exactly.
And that's what we're talking about.
We are, and rugby is known as a hooligan sport played by gentlemen. There is no onus on, no, it is.
This is something I don't get, man. Hooligan
because
sport played by
football is played by, gentlemen and watched by hooligans. These are just sayings in the UK. There's nothing attached to it.
It's all right.
Basically, with rugby, it's truly a team sport. The onus is not on individuality. It's literally you have to work as a team. You have respect for the coaches. The coach only speaks to the referee, the captain.
Yes.
There's so many rules and regulations, but anything that happens on the field stays on the field. At the end of the match, no matter who's won and lost, you shake hands. You go out afterwards.
Even if you got broken ribs or a broken knee, it's perfectly all right. And the origin goes back to Warwickshire as well. Yes. And I think you'll be very proud of this.
I love rugby. I'm a true rugby fan. But and over in Pakistan, they've gone even further. Even abroad, there is women rugby as well. But just like women football, everything has a bit of stigma. People are really working hard. But in Pakistan, there are women playing rugby, and that's fantastic.
It is, exactly. And
I'm really excited, guys.
Then at the same time, I think the only rule I know in rugby is that you cannot pass the ball at the back, right?
You pass it back.
You pass it back,
yeah. Pass it forward.
So we'll ask because we haven't really seen that much of
We've got
this sport over
professionals
here
and they're
in
like, what are they saying?
So let's see.
Yes, let's introduce to our guests. We have been very lucky. We've been joined by Salman Shaikh. He is the secretary of the Islamabad Rugby Football Club. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Besides Mr. Shaikh, we've been joined by Yahya Bhatti. He is the vice president of the Pakistan Rugby Union. Assalamu alaikum.
And he still plays rugby as well.
Fantastic. Wow. Besides Mr. Bhatti, we've been joined by Kashif Khawaja. He is the director of the Pakistan Rugby League. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Besides Mr. Khawaja, we've been joined by Ms. Faiza Mirza. She is the captain of the women's rugby team. And she was on our show before in a different capacity. So welcome back.
She's a football player.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. So let's start with you, Mr. Shaikh. Tell us about your origins and how did you start your rugby career?
Islamabad Jains, right?
Yes.
You see, as you're aware, Islamabad has a lot of diplomatic community in town. What used to happen way back in 96, 97 was the diplomats used to come and we used to go and play in their high commission grounds and all that. One day, 3, 4 of us who used to go and play there, we decided to bring the game out of the community so that it could, flourish among locals as well. Exactly. It's a beautiful sport. It's a very tough sport. It's a competitive sport. It's one of the few full body contact sports in the world. So what we did was we ran into a lot of gym schools to find out people who were interested in the sport. And we were lucky, we got hold of about 4, 5, 6 players and we started playing in F9 Park.
Yeah.
That is where we initially started.
Back in 96 and 97.
Back in 96, 97.
Okay.
And from there, people started joining us and then we moved to the sports complex. The sports complex people, the Pakistan Sports Board were we were very lucky because they were quite helpful in allotting us a football training ground where we started playing the game. And that's when we got hold of about 10 people, and that's when we actually played our first tens match in Lahore.
Wow.
Lahore, you will be surprised to know that the sport in the subcontinent is here since 1930s. As we go back as long as 1930s, where ships from the merchant navy ships and all those people used to come and play the sport. But then again, like I said, the sport wasn't doing the experts weren't doing anything good to the sport itself.
Okay.
So this is how it all started. Then we formed our club, which was called Islamabad Rugby Football Club. It's now known as Islamabad Jinns because of the sport itself. And in a couple of years, we started progressing, and now we have a governing body by the name of Pakistan Rugby Union, which is affiliated with the sports board itself.
Wow.
And we've gone international, by the way. This is the most encouraging part out of the entire lot, is that we now have international players who've represented the country in different capacities in different tournaments. Rugby now, as in cricket, it has 3 different versions. The main sport, it's a 15-a-side sport, which is the 40 minutes each half. And then we have 10s, which is 10 minutes each. And then we have 7s, consisting of 7, 10, and 15 players. So because of the commercial aspects, these things are very important.
Okay.
So we now have...
Do we have cheerleaders as well?
We have cheerleaders.
Okay, very nice.
Okay.
And this is how the sports now work.
Okay.
And from now, I think what
Yeah,
Rugby
Okay,
Union in
so
particular.
that's
Okay.
quite technical, and that's
Okay.
great, and that's fantastic, because you've, within 20 years, you've managed to get to the international
yes.
level, which
Oh,
is
yes.
a huge achievement. But I just want to ask you, in regards to how you've done great, so that means that there is popularity, but how difficult was it to get people on board? Because it is a cricketing nation, it is a hockey nation, it is, so how
It was
was
a
it
hockey nation, I
difficult
think.
to get people
It actually still is very difficult.
Okay.
You see, because the thing that is associated with it is that it's a tough sport. People tend to get injured while playing this sport because you have a full body contact. Quite recently, you've allowed a bit of armor around your shoulders, light shoulder padding. Otherwise, 20, 25 years ago, you would just play normal. And then again, we used to, barge into the other person and, you can hop on and then cross over and a lot of stuff. So people, as a nation, we are not healthy in terms of, we're not people who are health conscious.
We are malnourished people anyways.
We don't manage ourselves. We're not gym-going people. So you need to be very strong to play this sport. You see, that's the main aspect of the entire sport.
Okay,
So
fantastic.
it is very, very difficult because, like I said, initially we used to go out to gyms. We would go and call on the schools, but people would say, "Oh, parents are not letting us, because letting us play."
Yep.
So it was difficult, but then again, dedication, and the 4 initial players. You'll be happy to know the 4 initial players that we hooked on are still playing with us.
Great.
And Kashif Khawaja and Yahya are one of those players. These were young boys in those days, and when
I
we
thought
hooked
they
them
were
up,
young, though.
they're still playing. In the late 30s and 40s, they're still active, very, very professional, and they're still playing.
Wonderful.
Right.
So let's move on to you, Mr. Bhatti. So tell us more about, the Pakistan Rugby Union.
The Pakistan Rugby Union was formed back in 2003. We went on first tour to Sri Lanka that was unofficial. And then in 2004, we went to Hong Kong on an official tour where we played Sri Lanka and a couple more other teams. Then in 2006, we went to Philippines. We actually won that tournament.
Correct.
So the Pakistan Rugby Union has actually, collected all the rugby in Pakistan together. Whoever has formed clubs in different cities, especially
Right.
at that time it was Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi, and they have all formed together. So we pick players from them, and then we just go internationally, and we still play.
Right.
And
And this is the sole characteristic of the union as well,
the union.
right? Okay, so I just very quickly wanted to ask the difference in between the league and the union as well, so we'll move on to you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Rugby has these 2 codes, Rugby Union and Rugby League.
You can be a bit louder. You know.
All right, sorry. So Rugby has 2 codes. One is Rugby Union, and the other is Rugby League. Right? Rugby Union is what Salman mentioned, that it has 3 forms: 15-a-side, 10-a-side, and 7-a-side. Okay. It depends on the number of players and the timing each half. Just like that, Rugby League has 80-minute half for a full game, and a shorter version is called 9s. Okay. All right, that's 9-a-side. The length of the field is the same, but the rules are different.
Yeah.
Right. One rule is common, which is pass the ball backwards, and that's it.
That's it.
And that's it.
Okay, so that's the only common rule.
But then what's
That's the common rule.
Okay, so what are the differences? And tell us the
See,
difference.
a team is allowed 6 tackles, right? So they have to take the ball in, right, 6 times. Right? After the 6th time, it's the other way around. So you get to have 6 goals to take
good.
the ball and break the defensive line of the opposition. Whereas in union, it's a continuous game. So when a tackle is made, then the players form a ruck, the formation that is called a ruck. Then there's an offside line, etc., etc.
The league is basically the shorter sister, or probably the elder sister of the union.
Well, I mean, I've played both. I've represented as a captain Pakistan Rugby Union many times in the 7s form and also in the 15s format.
So it's like one day or T20. Probably, I think.
Yes,
that's
you
how
can say
they get
that because that's why.
Like, just to understand.
Commercialization.
That's what
aspect.
happens. Yes, you're absolutely right. The 7 side, because it's a shorter period of the game.
Yeah.
So that's why in a day you can have a tournament, the whole tournament,
Fantastic.
with 8 or 10 teams. But whereas in 15s, 80 minutes bashing into each other, your body doesn't allow playing another game the next day. So you have to wait for at least 3 days.
Okay, excellent. So now let's move on to Faiza. Last time you were here, you're promoting another sport for women.
Yeah.
And today, now mashallah, you're the captain of the women rugby team.
Yeah.
Tell me first, I want to know about your transition, and then I want you to tell me about the women's rugby.
So how is it to play a contact sport, first of all?
Actually, I didn't transit it exactly. I play many sports. I just have a passion to play sports. I just love to be on the fields and to play.
Great.
I started playing rugby a year ago. I find this sports, it's a lovely sport. It needs passion, it needs aggression, it needs, commitment, dedication, and hard work. So I basically,
But you might have picked up on like probably Kho or Kish or something of the other
I
sort.
played
If you're
Kho
so
and
interested
Kish
into
a lot
sports.
when I was in my
Rugby eventually.
I still play Kho and Kish.
Okay, very nice.
But the thing is that rugby is not too difficult to opt.
Yeah.
You just need to be, dedicated, and you need to have a passion for sports.
Okay.
You need to, work hard on your well-being. If you are healthy enough, you can play any sport.
And how is it when you got all your aggression and anger? Because even for for the male rugby as well, you take all your aggression out, but there's still kind of control within it. Do you guys have that as well?
Yeah. Why not? Because we cannot
just asking a
go
question.
all aggressive on the sport.
Yeah.
On the field, we have to control our aggressions. Like the best part of the rugby is that it is an aggressive sport, but it teaches you a lot of discipline and obedience.
How?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. This aggression, like obviously male, female rugby, it's the same if it's contact. But how do you ensure that, when someone's joining a team, that they're not just going to go and start bashing and breaking everything? Because there's certain moves that are illegal and, you can get disqualified, etc.
When actually we start training them, we start off with touch rugby. In touch rugby, you're not allowed to have full body contact. Okay. You can just touch the other person and he needs to let go of the ball. That's one basic aspect of training when we start.
Okay.
Then because somebody who doesn't know how to tackle. Because tackle is very technical. Because you can get hurt, because you need to bring in your shoulder, you need to bring in your strong body parts into the other person. So you can get hurt, as you were mentioning earlier in the morning. So this is how we start. We train them by giving them lessons for touch rugby, and we train them how to ruck, mold, dive, tackle. All these techniques are taught before we actually put them into put them into tackles. That's how it's actually done.
Okay, interesting.
And to help her out, I'm saying if the females start playing rugby, we don't need any women protection bills.
Sorry?
We don't need any women protection bills if most of the females in the
Yeah,
country
they've
start
started
playing rugby.
rugby or any sports, in fact, not
Okay,
only rugby.
let me ask you, because your parents obviously have supported you in
Yeah.
all your sporting endeavors. How do they feel when you said, "I'm taking up rugby, Mum"? Dad, I'm going to start going on the rugby field. What do they say?
Both of them got afraid, and they are still got afraid. They said, Faiza, please be careful that you're getting older, and we have to let you.
No.
Yeah, I've got a twisted ankle, but it's okay.
But it feels good?
Yeah.
But I think the only problem our Pakistani parents might have that, if something's going to happen, nobody's going to marry you.
Exactly, that's the same
please
thought.
do
You know
not
what?
do that.
And that's
Don't
not
do
just
that.
for females. My brother plays rugby, and my mother said, if your nose breaks, you're going to be banned. He broke his nose 3 times and never told anyone.
But rhinoplasty is common now. So
no,
it's,
I just
all
thought
right.
it was a family thing.
So how many, okay, a very general question, how many ribs have you broken or you, because you guys have played yourself?
I've had 2 ankle fractures.
Ankle
I
fractures.
have broken a collarbone once, and I think
broken the
the
most
broken
bones.
things can continue
I've
now.
broken my hand, I've broken my leg 3
Please
times.
don't get afraid, people. Please don't get afraid.
But I mean, like all these injuries, you healed and you continued to play.
Yes, absolutely.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction.
Once someone hits you, I mean, this is how I started back in 2000. Was it? After
You started in 99, 98.
99. I mean, the first tackle that I got. After that, I said I'm never going to do this sports ever again.
And then you'll be like, I'm going to come back and hit you harder.
The next day I was there.
The next day you were there,
I
okay,
said, well,
let's see who it
let's
was.
bring it on. Let's see what happens.
Now let me tell you, you watch soccer. Soccer has more untechnical and unofficial tackles than rugby, by the way.
Gosh, I can't stand.
Every other player who's got the ball needs to be put down.
Exactly.
That's what happens in soccer.
Exactly.
In rugby, though they're official, that's part of the game. But then again, as you were mentioning earlier, I was listening to you. Rugby is a sport played by the hooligans.
Yeah.
See? Gentleman's game played by the hooligans. That's what they refer it to soccer, not to rugby.
Ah,
It's a
switched around.
hooligans
I
game
blame my
played
brother.
by gentlemen. It's the other way around for rugby.
No, but then at the
Damn.
same time, picking up on soccer, most of the time what happens in soccer is that you really do not have to tackle. You just have to do this and the player will fall down. Every player of football needs an Oscar, yeah. For that particular reason.
But in regards to sorry, you want to-
Yeah, go ahead.
In regards to the rules and like international, you guys are playing international. I'll ask you, Yahya.
Yeah.
How do you maintain, because with the male rugby, it's getting quite strict, it's getting quite technical now, comparatively to the female rugby. So how are you guys adapting to that within Pakistan?
You're talking about the aggressiveness of the game.
Yeah, the rules and the regulations.
Well, it all depends on the ref.
Okay.
The ref should know, and because if the ref is not good, then the game is going to go down. There are going to be more fights. There are going to be more bad tackles. If he's not red carding someone or yellow carding or sending someone off, then the game is going to get more and more bad and terrible, and they're going to fight with each other more. The ref has to be more stronger, and plus in this sports, this is the only sports that mostly the Muslim sports that is the players do not talk back to the ref at all.
No.
The ref has got the
just
final
cannot.
decision. He says
Yes,
it.
obviously, the players are so strong.
A 6'6" lock coming up to a 5'5" ref, and he says, "Sorry, sir, I won't do that again," and just go back off.
It
It's
actually
about
happens.
respect.
This is the
It
beauty of the
actually
sports.
happens.
This actually happens.
No, but obviously, we really have to make sure that the refs are secure on the
No,
field.
no, they are.
Well, and just to add
Please do.
on Yaya's point, the Pakistan Rugby Union and league also, developing a referee society sort of a thing,
Great.
right? So that there's more and more referees who are developed, coached, etc. Likewise, there are many coaching avenues that are open for the existing players who want to go into coaching. For example,
tell us about
myself.
that.
For example, myself, now that I'm reaching an age limit where I won't be playing anymore. Hopefully not. But yeah, that's the transition. That should be the natural transition to go into coaching or refereeing or something of that sort. And the federations are providing that platform
Okay, good.
for everyone. So that is how, just to answer your question, in order to advance the technical skills of the game, this is one thing that is extremely important. And the second thing is the fitness regime, right? So there's different fitness regimes that the players have to follow. There's it's like we mentioned that the sport teaches you discipline not only on the field but also off the field, right? So you have to have that discipline in life, and that's
that was one thing I always noticed about rugby players whenever at university, or the people that play with my brothers, that you were never scared or intimidated. You just felt, wow, they're just very refined and they're very polite, and
It's all right, Ma.
it's
You
good.
can praise them later on.
Yeah, no, I like
Exactly.
It's about rugby.
You'll also be surprised there are no celebrations as such when you score a try or
Exactly.
convert a goal.
You just go back and
You
you
just
start.
go back and start.
Like in
That's it.
football, they're running, taking their shirts off. It's like, calm
Nothing of
down.
that sort in rugby. It's cool. We
Not
score a
Pakistani
try.
players.
Sorry?
Not Pakistani.
No, but then at the same time, what is Pakistan Sports Board doing in terms of rugby too, so that it flourishes over here in Pakistan? Because I think, as of now, we just have one rugby ground over here in Islamabad, and I cannot think of any other ground in any other city as well.
let me answer that.
Okay.
Right?
And then we'll get Yahya.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, okay.
After you.
Yeah.
Please, please.
So, we can all sit down and criticize the government and all, right? But it's really not. It should be a two-way thing. So
Yes.
when the federations are formed, right, they are formed with a mandate that's to promote the sport, right? And that's how Salman being part of the Islamabad Rugby, Yahya being part of Pakistan Rugby, right? So all have to join hands.
But
and,
is it two-way right now, or it's not? That's
See,
what I'm saying.
it is. It definitely is, right? So it always is a public-private partnership where it goes forward, and alhamdulillah, we have support from these people in the sports.
I'm so glad to hear this,
and we
because
rugby-
half of the time, whenever we have people who are actually representing a sport, they criticize the government. I'm very happy to know this.
I'm
We-
just.
we
I
rugby players,
won't.
we don't
I
criticize
won't
all.
criticize them because people
all.
criticize
lot.
these departments because of the funding only, right?
Yeah.
That's not the only thing that is required
That's the
to
only-
develop a sport.
That's not the only forte, though.
I'd
Exactly.
also add a small line to it.
Please do.
Whenever we've actually gone to the sports board, they've never actually turned us down. We wanted their grounds, they've given us their grounds.
Exactly.
We've recently coming up with a tournament next month.
Yeah, we wanted to talk
requested
about
them
that.
we requested them for accommodation. They said, we're very happy, we'll accommodate you, provided we're vacant, nothing happening. We've requested them for ground. They've always granted us ground. Like I said initially, we started off with our rugby in the sports complex on a football training ground. And at the DDG at that particular moment was kind enough to allot us that ground, bypassing the football community. He said, we want this sport to also flourish at the same time, so you guys go ahead and play.
Amazing.
Great. Yahya, you wanted to add something to
Yeah,
this question?
first of all, this is not the only rugby ground now.
Okay.
Pakistan Rugby Union has an acquired ground in Askrit and in Lahore. We've got two grounds there, and it has just started last week. And
Great.
plus, rugby is going to grow a lot, I hope. I hope. Plus, the thing that I needed to add was what rugby does to kids. I've seen university boys coming to us, very rude. They're coming from very good backgrounds, very good university. I won't say a particular name, but when they left after 6 months, they were all good boys. They're respecting boys with each other, respecting us, respecting each other, their families, respecting as a team. So rugby creates awareness of respect with each other, with everyone else. Rugby is
So, like the saying goes, so it turns them into gentlemen, right? So that's why they come and play.
I think I need to play this
That's
sport.
kind of right.
No, but then at the same time, what about this spring festival type of thing, which is coming over in the next month? I think it's on May 13th or 14th,
14th and
right?
14th and 15th.
Yeah.
May.
So tell us about that.
It's a spring festival that CDA plans on to run.
Okay.
Like they usually run a lot of things. And we've gotten in touch with them and we've requested them that we're having our national tents, so let's make part of it.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a 2-day tournament on
Rugby
the 15th,
tournament.
rugby tournament on 14th and 15th, which is going to be played by all the national teams. Now, by the way, we have about 20 local teams in the country at the moment.
20 now.
Army plays. There's Air Force plays, police plays,
WAPDA.
WAPDA plays,
HSC.
which the Higher Education Commission plays. They have a LUMS team. We have
We've got
Fast
our Army's
Universities
team as well.
Lahore.
Yeah, Army actually is the current champion also.
Okay, great.
Right.
And what about the females? Are you guys playing in this tournament?
Yes, I heard
Oh,
that we are
good.
going to play in the tournament as well.
We're also having an under 16 match also for the
Okay.
first time for the little boys.
Okay, I want.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
ask now. I want to ask you, Faisal. Like now, what do you want to see? You've been playing for a year. You've become the captain. You know, that's really impressive. I'm really impressed. Now, what do you want to see happen for women's rugby within Islamabad and within Pakistan?
I just want, some good girls to join to play, I would like to promote rugby here.
Yeah.
I want some new girls to join to play this sport. And, when new girls, young girls will join this sport or any other sports, it will promote it.
And tell me one last thing about in regards to all the parents watching now with daughters. How has it helped you, grow as an individual?
I think that if I won't be playing any sport, I won't be this much confident to, sit here and talk to you like that. Or I am doing a job. I have several, things in my life which I'm managing just because of being in the sports. Sports teach you all positive things. There is
Obviously,
no
obviously,
negative
we
aspect of
truly
sports.
get that. But now there's one more thing which I wanted to ask before you can actually end up that way. So what I
have one
wanted
more
to
point
ask
to
was
make.
that you have taken this sport professionally now.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody over here in Pakistan, if he takes up this sport professionally, can earn a living for that reason?
That was the same question my father asked me when I said that I
He's
have
everyone's
to,
father
that
on
I have to join, that I have to, play professionally. And he was like, no, your sister is, they are in business or in teaching, line, so you have to join this kind of a profession
Yeah.
to earn. But Alhamdulillah, I've got a job related to my field. I'm a sports coordinator in a private organization, and I'm earning sufficient. So,
So the
So you're
lunch is
fine.
on you today,
you
right?
just need to have passion.
Okay.
If you are passionate, if you want
And
to
if you're
do something,
dedicated.
yes, if you are dedicated, you can make anything.
Okay, great. Thank
So
you.
when are you joining her team?
Okay, I was thinking this. I normally do say that I'm going to go and try out the sports, but I don't know, rugby,
But
I
she's
like
doing
to watch
MMA
it.
right now. She's doing MMA.
I haven't gone yet. I have to go. But I like
She plans to.
No, but with rugby, I don't want to get hurt. Like as
You
in-
won't get
Planning to
hurt.
play MMA
You
in
won't
your
get
favorite
that.
When it's
rugby?
training, I'm not going to fight. I don't want to fight. I'm
When
not a
you get,
fighter.
proper training, you won't get hurt.
Okay.
So nobody's convincing
Okay.
me, man. I was ready.
No, no one can. But no, but basically, no, but women are excelling a lot in sport within Pakistan. We have the women cricket team. We have a lot, and they're really taking things forward. So, best of luck, and I will try and tell people to come to you guys.
Thank you
But
so much.
I'll come and see. Let's see if I.
We
try
have
it.
our 2 pages. We have a separate page on the web for the female.
Okay, great. You
thing.
can share the
And
links.
we have the Islamabad Gins page also, and you can go on the Facebook and like it and then join it.
Fantastic.
And we have a lot of events coming up, and you can be part of it.
Definitely, would love to be.
Secondly, the most important thing I wanted to make here was last year, Mr. Yahya was lucky enough to go and witness the Rugby World Cup, whereby we were awarded the Character Award, International Character Award for helping promote the game during tough times, like the terrorist positions that we have. The PRU was very vocal in areas like FATA, the northern frontier,
Balochistan.
the Balochistan, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and it was recognized by the international body. And during the World Cup ceremonies after the World Cup, our president, Khawaja,
Fawzi Khawaja.
was awarded the Character Award for the country. It's
Wow.
a huge thing for
Amazing
Pakistan.
that
That
is.
is
And it
huge.
deserves a
Great.
big round of applause.
This is the only crib we have that the entire media didn't cover it.
Okay, but you're allowed to
But
have
we're
that
here
crib.
now.
We're here now, and we know, so we're going to be supporting you guys. But now we're going to go for a short break. But before we go for a short break, we're going to share a movie with you. It's called Forever